This is Self-Directed Research. Our hosts, James and Amos, entertain each other with weekly, hyper-focused technical deep dives. Amos is up this week with Blackmagic Fusion is Weird. Make sure to like, follow, and subscribe wherever you find us, and visit sdr-podcast.com/episodes for all the presentations, videos, show notes, and transcripts. And as usual, stay tuned to the end to hear more about Depot, the sponsor of this episode.
I am so ready.
Are
Amos,
you?
Amos. I am so ready. Hold on, I'm trying to look at what your slides are, but I've turned my Jitsi performance all the way down because it was struggling, and now the letters are.
I need to show the
squiggles.
other screen. Yes.
Ah.
Share entire screen. So, James,
What up?
I have exactly one worry. It's that we don't talk about things that are relatable enough on this podcast.
Okay.
And this I think the people want to hear about technologies that they use every day. And this is why
Yeah, that makes sense.
today's episode is about migrating from AppleScript to Lua. Something that I think everyone can relate to.
Two languages so many people have written.
I would argue a bunch of people have had exposure to Lua, if only to like mod a game or something.
Yeah, Lua, I feel like the two places it pops up are, for me at least, well, I guess three, because video games, Nginx, and a lot of, it's one of the few languages that people will put on embedded systems and has a decent chance at running at like very, very small embedded systems. So like, it's a weird palette of places that I've seen Lua, but I guess it makes sense of like, I need fast scripting glue kind of stuff.
Yes. The actual title of the episode is Blackmagic Fusion is Weird, and that's an understatement. And I'm so excited, James, because finally we're gonna have a short Amos episode. Because can you guess how many slides I have?
Yeah, you've said that at the front of some episodes that have gone a very solid hour.
I only have 61 slides, so this is gonna be
Whoopsie!
a doozy.
Again. Quote. I can quote this. I can splice it all together and be like, "It's gonna be short. I only have a bajillion slides." Okay.
But you'll see, there's like little games we can play. We can try to guess things. There's like text encoding going on. It's very fun. But mostly it's because I can't help myself. Because we have a special guest today. His name is Sherlock. Is my white cat. He's meowing at the window, and I'm not going to do anything about it.
Hello, Sherlock.
He's gonna calm down and also cannot hear you. I cannot be helped, but I can be nerd sniped, and so I'm going to do something about the cat.
What's the French onomatopoeia for cats meowing?
Meow. It's miaou. Meow.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's kind of the same sound as meow, but yeah.
You almost pronounce all of the vowels, actually, surprisingly.
So, Amos, why do you find yourself understanding Lua for Blackmagic Fusion?
This is a sequel episode, actually. Previously, on Self-Directed Research. See, this is why I have 61 slides. It's because I have a slide that says previously on this. Yeah. James, where can people find the slides?
They can find it on sdr-podcast.com/episodes.
Good luck editing this, Amanda.
Amanda, I'm sorry. We're going to be a nightmare.
I'm ready.
So previously on Self-Directed Research, I talked about how I make videos, because this is not a podcast. This is a thinly veiled marketing vessel for the both of us. And so I explained that I can make screenshots of code and import that into DaVinci Resolve. And then in Fusion, I can use like a 3D keyer node to remove the background so that I can then composite that with some shots of my face and other backgrounds, other elements and animations and whatnot. But that it's not ideal, because you get kind of messy edges all around the text. It's already composited. The text is already composited on something, some color. And so when you remove the color, even when you choose your color wisely, or if black and you put it in a dark background, it's just not ideal. We talked about how actually in some browsers like Safari, we recently learned we had viewer mail, but not listener mail. Like, we got some mail.
Yeah.
Someone said, oh, actually, you can also do that in Chrome with the Puppeteer API, and it's much simpler. But I would the whole episode was actually on Safari. There's a capture screenshots command that takes a DOM node, and then you can get that entire node, no matter how big it is, with completely transparent background, and it's perfectly crisp and clean and nice.
Just what you wanted, totally unintentionally.
Yeah. And so then we talked about AppleScript and Automator and all sorts of things like that, and how AppleScript is weird. And it's a very entertaining episode, actually. When reviewing it, I was like, wow, we're interesting.
This is the automating macOS one, if I remember correctly.
Yes, it is. Here's the thing. Some people have pointed out, and they are correct, and I am helpless, that Fusion can render text, of course, because you can have titles. You can have what's called a text plus node, so you can even get some formatting in there. So here we have cantaloupe salmon in the Berkeley Mono.
Is this what you ate for lunch, or is this just like a diceware?
It's the name of macOS colors from the picker.
Oh.
Because the next thing I want to show is
two pretty colors. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that you can change a bunch of things in the text plus node. You can change the size, the tracking, line spacing, various alignment properties. And you can animate writing on the text so that it comes progressively, as if someone was writing it. And you can add multiple shading elements. And something that took me forever to figure out, you can also have character level styling. So the way it works is the least intuitive thing in the world. So you first type in some text in your text node, and then you right click in the text control in the sidebar inspector thingy. You right click, you click character level styling, and then you go in modifiers. And then in modifiers, you then select not in the text input that you just clicked or the one that's in modifier that's an almost exact copy of that. You select in the preview window. So you do like a rectangular selection in the preview window, and you get those little green sci-fi highlights, like, I don't know.
Like character divider boxes.
Outlines. Yeah. And that's your selection. And so much of this will make sense in a minute, but when I first discovered it, I was quite puzzled. But yeah, you can, in the same text plus node, you can have different colors, you can have different sizes, you can have all the controls you see here, even alignments. And
instead of trying to make two text boxes that have different colors and you just like shove them next to each other and hope that they're aligned,
that would be
nightmarish and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Editing this is really bad. Once you've added styles, if you then click in the middle of salmon, for example, and you try adding more letters, it will be the right color, so it kind of extends the range that is styled. But if you copy and paste, for example, it does not retain styling or anything. This is not WYSIWYG. This is not what you see is what you get. It is what you get is what you get. That's it.
And for anyone interested in debugging that, can go back to our episode about clipboards, where you could probably use one of the tools we mentioned in there to figure out exactly.
We're getting to James. No spoilers.
Am I spoiling things? Okay.
You absolutely are. But I like that. I think that's the sign of a well-designed slide deck, is that you can guess where I'm taking you. So can we automate that? Well, let's talk about the different ways DaVinci Resolve and Fusion can be automated. So yes, the short answer is yes, but there's many different ways you can do that. One way is fuses. And this is essentially, you can just script this thing with Lua. It wasn't always there in Fusion. I'm just now realizing that fuses and Fusion are the same word. Wow. Coffee is a great drug.
They're like, I forget what phone it is. It's not a homophone, but they're like Fusion and Fuses, or I don't even actually know if they share a root for anything, because Fusion seems nuclear to me, and then Fuses sound electrical to me.
Maybe. Do we have time for an etymology break?
No, keep going. We gotta run. Amanda will put the Wikipedia page in the links below, and we'll never know the answer until we go and review the episode.
All right. So I'm talking about Fusion and Resolve kind of interchangeably, and that's because today they are integrated. DaVinci Resolve is like 3 or 4 different programs in a trench code. One of them is Fusion, one of them is the audio thing. What is it called? Fairlight. the Fairlight Audio tab. There's just different tabs or pages in the application, but they used to be, or they also still are sometimes. Fusion, I think, is still available as a standalone thingy. And Fusion is very, very old. It was made for MS-DOS in 1987. It's older than me, by Ion.
I thought it was a newer, like, for some reason it registered as, like, it's probably because when it became a public tool or something like that, but it registers to me as the new one versus all the other ones.
No, it's the first Windows version was in 1996. They only added a timeline, so like you could do animated renders in 1997, and then they added Lua fuses in 2007. I don't remember, I don't have it in my notes, like what year Blackmagic, which is the company behind DaVinci Resolve, acquired the Fusion software. I think it's 2014 off the top of my head, but do not quote me on that. Fusion has been used in a ton of big movies and TV shows, including Sin City. I don't know if you know Sin City, and Lost, and American Horror Story. I cannot not say American Horror Story in the FX voice, like, next week on American Horror Story. That's just how I have to say it. You can tell that Fusion is old because we're looking at this Wikipedia, like early Wikipedia clone. Like, what is it called? It's called MediaWiki.
VFXpedia.
Yeah, called VFXpedia. What we're actually looking at is a mirror maintained by the wonderful people at We Suck Less, a PHPBB forum hosted at stakeunderwater.com, and which shows you a lovely SQL error if you try to register, but it still works. I got in. I got us a listing of what a fuse looks like, and you can actually do quite a bit with it. In this example, you can draw some text, so this is what we're interested in, actually. It's just Lua code as a font manager. You can scan the directory, you can assign things. And drawstring here that we see on the screen is, you get the slides at sdr-podcast.com/episodes, or on YouTube. If you're listening to that elsewhere, you can just go on YouTube and have the slides synchronized.
I do upload the videos to Spotify as well.
We do?
Yeah,
wow.
For a very long time now.
I don't use Spotify.
So drawstring, not like the pajamas.
Drawstring is not a built-in. Drawstring is a Lua function that calls out to FreeType. And it has interesting comments like, get the character or glyph, which is followed immediately by a call to something called byte. So that does not inspire confidence in terms of text.
It rings from a time before Unicode was a thing.
Yeah. Then it says, not really sure why we multiply this by 10. We just do smiley face emoticon.
Love that.
Yeah. And then right before the crucial bit, there's a comment that says, I think this renders the shape we are interested in. And this is the code sample that Blackmagic gives you if you want to learn about fuses. They also have like an official PDF documentation as of July 2022. So it only took, you do the math.
25 years?
No, 2007 to 2022, but they acquired it in 2014. Like, okay, sure. So fuses could work, right? Because you can do arbitrary rendering. But what are we going to do? Are we going to like design a control where we paste in some Rust code and then write some Lua code to parse the Rust into an AST and like whatever? Or like have some sort of markup language? Like parse the HTML instead and then render that? Or there's still questions.
I don't know. I watched you fall down the hole of AppleScript. You could go so many ways with this.
Yeah, but no, I decided not to use fuses. In fact, I got the source code, I got the manual text rendering and layouting thing as a last pass before we recorded this. I didn't actually pursue that avenue at all. Another way you can extend DaVinci Resolve is OpenFX Filters, which is actually a standard as far as I can tell. And it's a bit like VST, but for video. VST is for a standard for audio effects.
Yeah, or like audio effects in digital audio workstations and things like that. The one person I know who makes VSTs kind of hates VST, or like every platform makes it hard to keep things portable, but it is the standard way of writing audio plugins, basically.
Yeah, and it's a really fun little microcosm because you buy a DLL essentially from someone. And then they always have these wonky UIs. I don't know. It's a fun little universe. OpenFX Filters. Here's a read the docs, Sphinx docs guide thingy. Here's what it looks like. It's the same thing as the Lua thing, but it's in C++. So you can actually do per pixel thingy. They're using in Fusion for like blur, box blur, directional blur, Gaussian blur, lens blur, mosaic blur, radial blur, zoom blur, all sorts of like color space transforms. All the basic visual effects are actually OpenFX plugins that are shipped with Image Resolve. So it's not the best solution for that. I don't even know how it would work, because you would have to have some sort of like color generator node and then drag your effect on top of that, and then you would have a separate kind of it's native, right? You could ship whatever. You could have your own copy of FreeType in there. You could do all the rendering, all the you could link against some REST code to actually do the highlighting. You could do everything, but at the end of the day, it's awkward to composite because your output is something like a 4K canvas. Right? If you have code that is taller than that, then you need to have the scroll parameter or something be a parameter of your effect, of your plugin. You can't take that and put it into Fusion and like have it be part of the graph and animate it. I don't know. I have not pursued this road either.
If you wanted to do a giant Star Wars scroll of your code.
Yeah. I mean, it happens more often than you would think. I have a lot of code.
I believe it.
Can you write OpenFX filters in Rust? Of course you can. Someone made OFX-RS. And it's exactly what you'd expect. It's ugly because it has to interface with C++, and but it's better because it's more readable to me, let's say, because it's Rust.
Is it using like CXX or something like that?
I have no idea. I just checked that it worked, that it existed.
The nice thing about a crate, you don't have to think about it. It just worked, and I did.
I don't have to.
I'm sorry if I just cursed you with the desire for knowledge.
No. I'm getting wiser, James, and we are only halfway through. Another thing you can do is like Resolve has a scripting API, so that's another place where you can use Lua or Python interchangeably. I'm not exactly sure how they did that, and the documentation for that is non-existent. They have a readme.txt somewhere, and someone parsed it and generated like a nice website out of it, and it still has almost nothing. I think the only thing that I've seen that uses it, that I've used, is AutoCut, that does something like export your whole project to a WAV file, then analyze it elsewhere, generate cut points, and like basically cuts out the silences. And it does that by using the scripting API to tell Resolve, okay, move here, do blade cut, select this, etc. So that's what it's for. It's for like moving clips around on the timeline, changing properties, automating stuff like that. So I imagine like big productions, if they have to mass retag some clips or something, that's what they would use. But you know what's fun? It's that everything in Fusion, like every scene, is actually Lua. So this is also a callback to, and you called it, James, but this is a callback to our clipboard episode. If you go into Fusion and you copy the text plus nodes that I was showing earlier, you can see it doesn't immediately register to me as Lua, but it is actually.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say Lua, I've had to tweak a couple times, but I'm not really fluent in Lua, but it's got a very like somewhere between JavaScript and Python kind of vibe to it.
Lua is weird. I had to use it a bunch when I worked at Itch, and I never really, just the one indexed arrays, I just never could. I don't know. But it has a JIT. It's light enough to integrate. It's been around forever. There's a reason it's almost everywhere. And the scene description, like the node graphs in Fusion, are Lua. So when you copy them, you get a bunch of text readable things, which explains a lot about the performance overall, by the way, and the stability of the software, which is sometimes not ideal. But it's also very nice because you can see that Cantaloupe Salmon is here in the character level styling node. I kind of need to zoom in a little bit. There we go. And that for the colors, we also have something that is pretty easily reversible. I think what happened there, the nerd sniping process, is that I just noticed that you got text out of it, and I figured you could probably paste it back in, or like generate something and paste it back in. But I had no idea. I saw all these numbers and I got scared, and I posted it on Blue Sky or something. And someone was like, wait a minute, it's not scary at all. 2401 is red, 2402 is green, and 2403 is blue. As you can see, like I put the color picker next to it. And you can see, yeah, 1 is 255. 0.49 is 126, 0.47 is 121. So yeah, okay. So the first element in the array, 2401, is the attribute number or ID or something, like the property ID. Then we have 11 and 16 are start and end, and then value is the value. And you have different properties. You can have font, you can have font variants, you can have a bunch of different things, but we're just interested in colors right now. And so the plan becomes, okay, so we have an example scene, right? We've added some text plus nodes in Fusion. We have had this complete Lua printout, and we can just generate our own and then paste it back into Fusion. And then profit. But there's a few issues. There's at least 2 important details that got in the way. Because this is exactly what I did. I'm going to show you what it looks like later. But
we're falling down the hole with you right now.
Yes, it is. James, can you predict what some of the details might be?
Well, you said earlier that when you copied and pasted it back in, it didn't have the second one. So when you did the like fancy text box formatting, it was just cantaloupe and not cantaloupe salmon, or the salmon was cantaloupe, if that makes sense. So I'm guessing that's going to be an issue here.
So yes and no. So you don't paste it into the text input, you paste it into the node graph editor. The way it works is that I generate my own entire node graph, and then I have to select all the existing node graph, delete that, and then paste my own in place. But there is an interesting bug here. I didn't even think to document it. It's that when you delete the entire node graph and you paste another entire node graph, because the media output disappeared, it just never shows anything anymore on the preview tab until you switch to a different page and switch back. So you don't get to see what it actually, like you don't get a preview of what you just pasted in until you switch back to the edit page and then back to Fusion. But no, the first detail that's annoying is that RGB doesn't really mean anything. You need to kind of have a reference. It goes from 0 to 1, sure, but what does it mean? And there's 3 different places we can see color. And none of them agree with each other. There's the macOS color picker, there's the Fusion color control, and then there's the Resolve render preview window. And they all show distinct values. This is my favorite slide. But we can see that on the preview, we have 255.175.171. On the macOS color picker, we have 255.148.140. It's even darker on in the Fusion inspector, which is 255.115.115. The preview is closest to the actual export, which is good. At least you can kind of trust that. If you export the video, the color, I did color picking on the final file, and it is actually what the preview is. But if you remember,
are we going to learn more about color spaces now?
Not a lot. Don't worry. Let me get my slide. Yeah, the macOS color picker corresponded well with the values here, which does not correspond to what you actually see on screen. So I honestly almost gave up at this point because I was like, I don't even freaking know. And I made a whole freaking article/video about color. Color is best effort. Just my worst performing videos of the past 10 videos, by the way. A good, like,
womp womp.
Humbling reminder that, not every video is a hit, but I like it. You think I would figure it out? I would go like, is it Rec 709 because that's the color space of the project? Is it sRGB? That would make sense for web. That would make sense for like a system color picker. Is it linear? I don't know. What I know is I assumed that the RGB CSS properties that I'm converting from on my website, this is some code from my website, are sRGB. And I'm assuming that Fusion wants something linear. And it's wrong by some measure, but not enough for me to care anymore. I have spent all my cycles on this. I have no more cycles to spend. And it's close enough. The second detail is how to define text ranges. And this one I did not expect because it's 2025 and I keep forgetting that some software is actually 35-year-old.
Is this going to be bytes and not glyphs, and which means terrible UTF-8 things can happen?
So glyph is making me sad angry. Glyph is not a thing really.
Oh, I'm using the incorrect Unicode word. There, you're right. There's a very specific word for what we should use for this.
Grapheme cluster.
Yeah, it's a grapheme cluster. That's exactly it. Is glyph the Go word for
No,
it?
no. Go has runes, which are different still. I forget what they are.
Oh.
But yeah, the question is like, how do we deal with emojis, for example?
Mm-hmm.
Like text ranges we'll get into, but emojis are another problem because normally operating systems, I don't know, if you have a text editor, you say, okay, I want Arial font, and then you write some text. Okay, it's going to render the text in Arial. But if you have an emoji in the middle, it's going to use the system emoji font, which is a color font. In the middle of all that, it's going to have different widths, different like dimensions, metrics, whatnot. And it's going to do that seamlessly. And that's like emojis show differently on different platforms. And that's because the operating system knows how to render emoji. But Fusion does not. It will just render
Excellent.
garbage. And it does not support color fonts either. So even if you bring your own like Noto color emoji font, it's just not going to know what to do with it. I don't know what FreeType actually does with fonts like these, but it just doesn't work. Fortunately, Noto emoji exists, and it's a version that is not a color font. It's what word am I looking for?
Black and white outline, kind of.
It's a monochrome emoji font in text style. Another little detail: I have nerdfonts in my terminal and in my like text editor with.
This is OMI-ZSH or something?
This is actually Starship.rs.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
And same issue here.
So is this using ligatures or things like that?
It's not. It's using private use area characters.
Ah.
So again, they would just show up as like the don't have a glyph for that. Glyph in DaVinci
There's
Resolve.
a word for that in Unicode. It's not toasts, but it's the square that has like the
character replacement box or something.
Yeah. But it's just got the hex value of what exists inside of that space.
I wish that were the case. That would be so much easier, but at least not in DaVinci Resolve. On my website, I have a patched version of Berkeley Mono, and so there's no need to do anything special. And also in CSS, you can have, like, for this range, like, the range for nerdfonts characters, just use that other font. It's all built in. The web is actually very good at rendering text, surprisingly. Turns out, yeah. There's a symbols nerd font, which only has the symbols. And so, technically, if you were to go through some text that I captured from the terminal, you could detect what ranges are an emoji, because an emoji is not just one, right? That's never the case. It's time for a game. The only way to learn is to play. Let's play a little game called What's the Length of This String?
Oh no. This isn't quite as bad as what date is this in JavaScript, but this one's pretty bad.
There's a bunch of like .wtf websites that popped up recently. One of them was about Python F strings. The other one was the date. The JavaScript date thing is just.
I think Sam Hu did the JavaScript date library thing.
Yeah. So we'll start easy. We'll start with $, and we'll count 4 different things. We'll count grapheme clusters, Unicode code points, UTF-16 code units, and UTF-8 bytes.
Let's see. If this is an ASCII $,
it is.
It would be 1 grapheme cluster, 1 Unicode code points, 1 UTF-16 code unit, and 1 UTF-8 byte.
Yes, that is correct. So that's 4 points for you.
We're in the ASCII subset of Unicode.
Do you want a bonus point to tell us what the code point is?
Oh, I don't know. No, I'm not. I'd have to Google it.
Okay, well, it's plus 24. It's hex 24. But yeah, that's all correct. It's exactly the length of $1 is 1. Everybody agrees. Honestly, we should have stopped there probably. Next one.
Oh no.
A crab emoji.
Crab, it is going to be 1 grapheme cluster, 1 Unicode code point. It's going to be
correct.
1 UTF-18 code unit, and it's going to be 3 UTF-8 bytes.
Before you go any further, I want to tell you what the code point is so that it can help you. The Unicode code point for the crab, is 1F980.
1F980. Yeah, so it'd be, I mean, it's going to be 3 UTF-8 bytes, right?
No, it's going to be 2 UTF-16 code units and 4 UTF-8 bytes.
Oh.
Because the code point is too big. It don't fit.
Mm-hmm.
It don't fit in one UTF-16 code unit. So you have a surrogate pair. It's called that way.
Oh, goody.
And a surrogate pair. I'm saying it weird. And now I have the fruit, the pear, like a surrogate pair in my mind. Yeah.
This is my surrogate pear.
Amanda, please edit a pear.
Replacement fruit. It's a surrogate pear. Yeah.
Exactly. I should have used the pear emoji.
Yeah, there you go.
Mm-hmm. And for UTF-8, it's a little bit more complicated. There's very good tools. There's UTF-8 visualizers. I linked 2 of them. They're going to be in the show notes because Amanda is the best.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have 4 UTF-8 bytes because, again, it doesn't fit in 3.
Yeah. I always forget that the UTF-8 format is slightly more complicated than like the protobuf variant format. Like normally in protobuf variants, and actually the same way postcard works, you just use 1 bit as the continuation bit, whereas in UTF-8 they use 4 bits in the first byte and then 2 in each of the continuations. Like it uses significantly more for metadata.
That's what it seems to show, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, the other UTF-8 visualizer seems to indicate that you get 4 bytes set to 1 and then 1 0. Do you see it in the corner? They disagree on how many leading zeros we have that are part of the...
Because it uses how many ones you have before the first 0 to basically count there. So like the 11110, the 0 is the terminator for the string of 1 bits. So it does actually take 5 bits to say there are 4 bytes in this sequence.
But why do we need to know how many bytes there are in the sequence? Can't we just use continuation bytes? Well, no, okay. Well, no, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's probably a detection thing. I'm not entirely sure. It's like a clear way that, yes, this is the beginning of a thing.
UTF-8 is fun. The hard part of UTF-8 is, I don't know, normalization and stuff. Big Unicode tables, stuff like that. But UTF-8 itself is just pretty neat. All right, next question, James. An emoji pair of scissors. How many grapheme clusters? How many code points?
I'm going to guess all the same numbers as the crab, just to be wrong.
But you'd be wrong, of course.
Yeah. So
this time there's not 1, there's 2 Unicode code points.
Excellent. But it's a big Unicode code point.
As 2 UTF-16 code units, but 6 UTF-8 bytes for some reason. This time, each code point fits in 1 UTF-16 code unit, but UTF-8 goes from like, how many bytes do we have? 4 to 6 because it's like 3 and 3, I'm assuming. I don't know. I haven't decoded those. Do you know why there's 2 code points? Do you have any idea?
Is it the left half of the scissors? Is it just 2 knives glued together and that's actually scissors?
That's not as out there of a guess as it sounds.
It's not. UTF-8 does some weird things sometimes.
But no. It's an image variation selector. The problem is that the pair of scissors existed before emoji. So if you just do pair of scissors, then you get the text version is sideways for some reason.
You get the lo-fi text scissors.
Yeah, the monochrome outline version, the Noto emoji without color. And then you add an image variation selector after that, and you get an emoji pair of scissors with colors and everything instead.
Is this how like things like the... Oh, okay, I won't spoil it.
You can also select the other, like this is only one of the selectors. You can also select the text version if you wanted to. And so I guess if you only have 2702, like only the pair of scissors, I guess it's not wrong to render it as emoji. I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff that like it's allowable fall downs in Unicode. We need to just have Manish on is what we need to have. Like someone who's in the Unicode consortium and knows all of these things. Of like there are certain things that are allowable and then there's certain ways to say something's not allowable. Yeah, this is beyond my ken.
Well, don't worry because we're reaching the end. Here's the last one.
This is the best one. Yeah, because this is... Okay. I know that the like combined family emoji is a modifier because it's like combining multiple emojis. I don't know if it's quite like person plus child plus child. You're giving me the like Japanese symbol version, not the like color emoji one that has like cartoon looking people.
I thought it would be cartoon looking people. I don't know why it shows this.
Interesting.
Google Docs is just being weird.
So I'm guessing this is 4 graphene clusters and like 7 Unicode code points and like 14 bytes or something like that.
Okay, you're already wrong on the first one. How many shapes do you identify?
Is it 4? Because it's the 4 adults and 2 children, or excuse me, 2 adults and 2 children.
How many clusters do you identify?
In a box?
That's just the one.
I don't know.
There's one cluster, right? It's one. You can select it.
Oh, right.
It's one. Like if you do left or right, you're not going to be in the middle of that thing. You can be on the left of it and on the right of it. It's one grapheme cluster.
Doing like the zero width join of multiple emoji characters, it becomes one cluster is the join of all the things that have been joined together. So I guess that's why you were saying the difference between grapheme clusters and code points, because it's one cluster with like 5 Unicode code points. Does that include the zero width joins and stuff like that?
I have to zoom in my speaker notes to cheat. No, there's so many freaking code points in there. So because you have to have some sort of joiner, right, between them.
The glue that holds the family together.
Exactly. And you have to repeat it between everything. So you actually have like dad zero width joiner, mom zero width joiner, child A zero width joiner, child B, and then a selector, a variant selector.
Oh,
you have
okay.
8 Unicode code points. Because 4 family members, 3 joiners, 1 selector.
28 bytes.
And then you have like however many code units and bytes it takes to encode this friggin' mess.
Plus there's variants for all of this. Like you can have adult man plus female child plus male child or whatever for all of it. Like you can customize. And then I think you can also add skin color variants and things like that. You can make the family emoji a lot of bytes.
Yeah. Yeah, you can. I actually have no idea if the renderers allow all combinations or if they just hard-coded a bunch of them. But yeah. So in JavaScript, if you have an array literal and then you do ellipsis of like that string literal family emoji, you see the individual code points kind of. You see the male face zero width joiner, female face zero width joiner, etc., etc. We're almost there. We almost have something that works. We have only 10 slides left. How do we identify emojis in a string? We have to know the boundaries of an emoji so that we can tell Fusion to use our emoji font. How do you do that?
Since you have Rust code, you just do not is ASCII character or something on each.
No, because emojis are like a very small, relatively speaking, subset of all non-ASCII things. We still want like diacritics. There's a lot of things that are not in the emoji font.
How do we do this?
First of all, I was pleasantly surprised to learn that there's a standard browser API. Also, this is not Rust code. This is all TypeScript. There's a standard segmenter API in the Intel for international namespace thingy. You have to give it a locale, so I just choose English, but you can segment it.
Wait a minute. When do we go from Lua or Python or Rust or C++ to TypeScript? How do we bring another language into this this cluster?
Well, we need to skip ahead so I can show you.
Okay.
But basically, the way it works is that on my website, like I want to make a video, or rather, my editor is now tasked with making a video. All I have to do is go on my website, run my website locally, and then there's a little button on each code block. And it opens this little preview with a transparent image of my face for scale. This is still in the browser, so you click the button and it opens this preview here.
Oh, so your website,
and then this is content editable. Yeah, you're in the browser, you can still edit the thing.
So your website is generating Lua that describes text.
Exactly.
I love it.
Yeah, it could be done server side, but here you get to remove things that are not relevant because actually Fusion is really slow at rendering text. So you can just remove a paragraph that you don't need, or like a code block or something. You can highlight something, like select something with a mouse and then press space, and it's going to dim everything else and just highlight that bit. That used to take forever. In Fusion, I used to have to like add rectangles for masks and stuff, like just to highlight some bit of code. But now it's really just that, and then you copy it without the highlight and with the highlight, so you have 2 different clips, and then you do a crossfade between those 2 different clips, and it works.
So this means your website's now a compiler?
Essentially, yes. I think so.
Excellent.
Basically, it was really hard to like, first you segment things into grapheme clusters, and then for each grapheme cluster, you run that. There's an emoji regular expression, small version, that identifies emojis. And then if it's an emoji, you get the Noto emoji font. If it's something that looks like a nerd font thing, you get the nerd font symbols font. I discovered that Berkeley Mono is missing some Greek symbols. So it's just things that there's a lot of fallbacks everywhere. And it takes a freaking dumb font renderer for you to realize that you're missing them.
There's a lot of glue. Yeah.
There is. It's still kind of a nightmare because the size of everything is wrong. I have an actual preview here, which you would need to zoom in a lot to see what's going on. Amanda, we'll do it in post. But basically, the emojis don't have the same width as everything else. If you had an emoji in a table, that's a problem for a lot of terminal emulators and code editors and whatnot. Yeah, if you have an emoji somewhere, it can misalign everything after it, but at least it works.
I ran into this not with emojis, but departure mono in odd font sizes. So like 17-point font, 19-point font. There's a specific, it's not even an emoji, it's the Unicode like filled arrow. And I use a diagramming tool called MonoDraw, which makes diagrams and has arrows and lines and stuff like that, but it makes it as text. But when I copied and pasted it into my editor, all of the boxes that had the arrows left or right in them would become unaligned, even though I'm using a monospace font in a monospace text editor.
Yeah.
But I realized that if I change my font from 17 to 18 or whatever, then all of a sudden they align again. So I luckily Departure Mono is an open source font, which means I went and opened a GitHub issue and I'm like, I don't know how fonts work, but something terrible is going on. So it's not just emojis that run into this problem. A character, even a monospace font, one character width is not one character width.
I mean, maybe for you it's probably just precision and calculation. Like, it's not right.
I'll send you a link to the issue, and I guess we'll put it in the show notes, but it's a fun error.
But I'm really happy with the results of my thing. You can see this is a screenshot of Fusion. You can see that there's an emoji. The emoji is rendered as an emoji in the text input on the right. Like, you see the crab emoji with colors and everything. But that's because that's a cutie text box. On the left, you have the preview from Fusion.
So the operating system's rendering can do it, but Fusion's rendering can't do it.
Yeah. But it's very funny because now I understand why we have this futuristic matrix green outline of the text. I put it like to the left of the canvas on purpose so we could see the outline and see that it's actually vector. Because it is actually vector. This is what happens. It's using free type to get a vector shape out of a font, and it's very slow because for every single character, I imagine what the text plus node is doing is not too far from their fuse sample that we saw earlier, which is a very basic and bad way to render text. I imagine that's why it's slow, because it shouldn't be that slow to render text.
I guess it's one of those things you don't run into. That there aren't that many people putting a lot of text on there. Like a little text, sure. I wonder how bad people's the credit sequences are to render for a lot of people. I feel like that's the most text-heavy part of an entire movie if people are using this for movies.
That's true. I imagine there's specialized software for that, like they do the render elsewhere. Like, I've been watching a lot of Corridor Crew, the VFX people react to VFX in movies, and they use a patchwork of techniques. It's such a mess. It's so practical. It's like, I don't know. As a developer, it hurts me. But I also see how, I don't know, it's fun to see them make things happen with not much. Anyway, it all works. It's already like,
hell yeah,
my solution for generating Fusion node graphs. I've already used in the video introducing facet reflection for Rust. And it's great. It's like that plus wearing a cap so that I'm shooting with green screen again is such a huge time save. I like started working with Sekun for video editing, who's credited now.
Wait, is the cap just to keep your hair from causing like fringing with the green screen?
Yeah. Yeah, it's not a style choice. It's not a statement.
Ah, nice.
It's just for
It's like the video
effects.
version of hairnets for food prep. You know what I mean?
Did you ever watch any Austin video? The guy who's like
Austin video?
Any Austin.
I have, yeah.
No.
Yeah, he
I haven't.
I like that guy.
He does restaurant reviews of Skyrim. He ask like, where does the water come from in Zelda? He's like, can a 747 really land in the GTA 5 airport? And the answer is no.
Oh, I think I've seen clips from, yeah.
He's also from Minnesota.
He is.
Yeah.
And he's always wearing hair clips.
It's so great. Yeah, hair clips. Reppin'.
I stopped feeling bad about my wearing a cap when I saw him wearing hair clips. It's such a, I don't know. But who cares? The content is amazing. He's going around Delfino Plaza wondering which NPCs have a job and which don't.
Mario Sunshine?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's measuring the unemployment rate in various video games. That's what he does. It's amazing.
All right, now I have a bunch of YouTube videos to go watch.
Yes, you do.
Is there a special key combo I can press on your website to see this, or is it only on the local render view?
It's only on the local render view, and the TypeScript code that does all that is not even bundled in the production version.
Oh.
So I'm sorry.
Boo. In case everyone else wanted their immediate Fusion node text generator application.
It's so custom made.
Yeah.
I thought it would be much more work. I must admit, I vibe coded a bunch of this. I had to stop when, like, for the two details I mentioned, like for the color and the text extents thingy. I tried to debate with Claude Code about like how Unicode works, and I was like, okay, I have to actually understand the code that's going on now.
You don't have like tree sitter in there somewhere already, or is it already formatted? I guess the website's already doing syntax highlighting using some kind of tree sitter plugin or something, and then
yes,
you get the output of that, and then you know the colors, and then you generate from that. So it's already done by your website. So you just hop on that train and just spit out from the colored text to generate the Lua that's necessary for this.
Yes. So the various code blocks, including highlighting code, is not that exciting. Everyone's doing it. The thing I'm really excited about is that I'm capturing terminal sessions with color. That's much harder. In both cases, they end up being a soup of like I tags, I think, with different classes, and those different classes have different colors in light mode and dark mode. And so I force dark mode, I think, in that preview thing. And I use computed style map, I think, to grab the CSS colors.
Nice.
I think I had a whole video or episode. At some point I talked about how, display P3, blah, blah, blah. I went back to sRGB for all the colors just because of that.
Yeah, because it works in more places, or?
I moved from Catpuchin to Mélange and from Josefka to Berkeley Mono. So
for fonts.
Lots of changes. Yeah.
I think it was you who, for a long time, your Twitter profile was just the font is Iosevka or whatever. And I think
Correct.
Eliza started doing the same thing for like the font is Berkeley Mono.
Yep.
I think it was when you were maybe starting to make videos, and it was just probably the most common question everyone had for a video was, what is that font?
I still get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You make like a, I don't know, 30-minute video about something intense, and people are like, what's the font?
There's an old drawing, or not old, it's still current. There's a tool on iPad called Concepts, which is really nice for drawing things with like an Apple Pencil and things like that. If you're drawing actual diagrams and stuff, Concepts is excellent. But every time I posted something where I was excited, I just figured out how something works and I drew a diagram of it so I could remember how it's supposed to work. The only engagement I ever got on that was, what is that diagramming tool? And so I was just like, I need to just put its concepts in every, like, no engagement with the actual thing that I figured out or I was excited about. It's just, what is that diagramming tool?
It's really hard.
And so I feel deeply for the, like, you spent all this time on it, and it's like, ooh, what's the pretty font? Yeah.
I occasionally, very occasionally, it's not like everyone asks me, how do you be famous? No, it's like occasionally people ask me about making content, making videos like that, and I have no idea what to tell them, because even like at the scale that I'm at, I'm really happy. It took a bunch of work to getting to 50K subscribers. I'm excited about Color. I figured out a bunch of stuff about it. I released it. It's a complete flop. YouTube algorithm is harsh. Sometimes it just doesn't want to show it to people. It shows it to people a little bit, and if it's not an instant hit, if everybody's not immediately into it, it's like, nah, it's not working. Sorry. You get it.
Yeah. The other thing that I see people do all the time is changing the title like 7 times in the first like week that it's out. And I'm sure that's just like engagement hacking of seeing who clicks on it immediately and things like that. Or they change the thumbnail and whatever. We just kind of publish it and we go, well, it'll do as it does.
Yeah. Well, that's all I have for you
I'm
today,
glad
James.
you got text pretty. At some point, your website is just going to become the ultimate YouTube authoring tool. Like, it's just going to generate the project for you and do the recording at some point.
I've kind of given up the idea that it's going to be useful for someone other than me at this point. And it's been liberating.
Yeah.
But like, I don't expect anyone to use the Fusion thing. If anything, I'd like to move to something else for motion design, but I don't know. I'm just so embedded into Resolve right now. Anyway, that's all.
I love it. This episode is sponsored by Depot, the build acceleration platform that's on a mission to make all builds near instant. If you're tired of watching your builds in GitHub Actions crawl like the modern-day equivalent of paint drying, give Depot's GitHub Action Runners a try. They're up to 10 times faster with unlimited concurrency, faster caching, support for Linux, macOS, and Windows, and they plug right into other Depot optimizations like accelerated container image builds and remote caching for Bazel, Turbo Repo, Gradle, and more. Depot was built by developers who are tired of wasting time waiting on builds instead of shipping. It's made for teams that want to move faster and stay focused on what actually matters. That's why companies like PostHog use Depot to cut build times from over 3 hours to just 3 minutes, saving tens of thousands of build hours every week. Start your free 7-day trial at depot.dev and let them know we sent you.